Welcome everyone to On the Trail in Search of Living Legends. We are on season 4, episode 4, and we had a guest for you tonight, Nick. I know you wanted to hop in there and do the bye. How's it going, Nick?
Oh, doing absolutely great. Good seeing you, Jeremiah.
Good seeing you, buddy. As always.
All right, so tonight, Jeremiah and I are going to co-host, and our guest is Jessica Jones, known all over the place as the Cryptid Huntress. Jessica is a paranormal investigator and a remote viewer based in Northwest Georgia. She's an active field investigator and a member of several groups. All these groups are action-oriented research groups which conduct field research associated with all things paranormal, and in particular, Bigfoot. Jessica, she's been a very switched on human being since childhood, and that's why we were really interested in having her here today, because as a remote viewer, she's told me some things that I've researched and investigated in the past, and we want to get her take on some more things. So let's bring her on.
Hey, Jessica, how's it going? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for having me tonight. This will be a good time.
Absolutely.
Only got it for a short period of time, but Jessica, it's great seeing you again.
Thank you. You too. I thought you looked familiar. Just kidding.
Yeah. 3 shows in what, 6 days? That was
we've done a couple of shows together this week, and I just met you about a week ago. So go figure.
Here I am with my peach water again.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows it's not beer. I don't drink. But boy, I sure like this peach water. I'm telling you.
That's nice.
So, Jessica, I guess first, did you get into how this all started? I know this started happening when you were a child.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started having paranormal experiences when I was a kid. I was seeing dead people and ghosts, I guess. And I say I guess they were ghosts, because I'm going to get to that part in just a minute, because, I saw people standing around my bed and they would be talking to me and their mouths wouldn't move, and I also had an interest in UFOs when I was a little kid.
Oh, really?
I grew up on a farm, and I would take my little mat outside at night and I would lay it on the ground and I would look up at the sky and watch for UFOs when I was just a little kid. I think that's interesting. All my science projects were on black holes and weird, star stuff. I mean, I was just really into astronomy. Okay. And so it makes sense now that I'm older and I've experienced UFOs and ETs, but yeah, I've always had an interest in the paranormal and fortune telling and all the weird stuff. Okay. And, as a young adult, I went to a meeting one night with my mom, and I met a group of guys who had a Bigfoot field research team here in Georgia and up in North Georgia. And I was amazed at the evidence that they had. And, my mom had invited me to that meeting that night, and she was like, you're going to need to come hear this, and I was like, well, if Bigfoot has to be real, because if I've seen all the stuff I've seen, why would Bigfoot not be real? And so I asked them a whole bunch of questions, and they ended up asking me if I would like to join them on an expedition. And so I said yes. And I went and bought a tent and some gear and some shoes and stuff. And I went on an expedition with a bunch of strange men for a weekend.
Awesome.
And it was the best thing I ever did. We had so much fun. And we had Bigfoot activity that weekend, in addition to UFO and ET activity, pretty much the whole weekend. Okay. It was like action packed. And these are very seasoned researchers, and they have very extensive backgrounds in military and law enforcement and firefighters and EMTs and, government people. I mean, I worked for the government at the time myself, actually, but I didn't go public with my research. That was about 12 years ago. And I didn't go public until last year that I even was a Bigfoot field researcher. Yeah. And now I'm doing podcasts and shows about it. So
I hadn't heard about last year.
Yeah, I just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know why I got summoned to do all this. I'm not sure how this happened. But
It's a bug. We all got it.
yeah, we all got the call from upstairs or
Yeah.
something. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Interesting necklace you have there.
my Bigfoot. Yes, I am wearing my Bigfoot necklace tonight.
I have one too. See him?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we love our Bigfoots.
Decoration, actually.
Absolutely.
Cute.
That's awesome. You should make a necklace out of that.
Oh yeah, wear it all over the place.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing field research for, like I said, about 12 years now. And my team has been out in the field. I'm a member of 3 different teams. Okay. And we work with people from all over the country, basically, but we kind of specialize in the South. Like we kind of stay here. We have some spots that we research, and they're undisclosed locations. Okay.
Sure. I keep on mine and this goes as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, but one of my teams, the head of my team, Trey Hudson, he ended up writing a book last year or in 2020. And so he went public with our research. So that enabled me to kind of start going public with my research. Because we signed NDAs, like we don't really talk about what we do out there too much. Right. Yeah. Right. But now we do a little bit. So
a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Now, how are you still in the paranormal? I know,
yeah.
Paranormal covers everything, but for the sake of the show, are you still in the paranormal?
It's all paranormal.
Side of it? Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. For those that don't understand that, I'll say, cryptid and paranormal. You still in the paranormal side?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, here's the thing. It's right after we started having a lot of ET and UFO experience out in the field when we were doing Bigfooting. The head of my team is a very amazing remote viewer. Okay. And he's very psychically switched on. And somehow everybody on our team was very psychically switched on to begin with. And I feel like nothing is a coincidence. And we all kind of found each other, I guess. He started teaching us remote viewing extensively. We went through years of training as a team in remote viewing. And if you want to consider that paranormal, it kind of is. But we use our ghost hunting equipment when we're out there Bigfooting. So, I mean, there's really not that big of a difference.
Oh, there's not. I don't think a lot of people don't realize that it all ties in.
Yeah, it's all tied together. To me, it's all connected.
Me too. Yeah, we talked about that in some people don't get it, but
it's okay.
It's okay.
Well, I don't force anyone to believe me with anything I do. It's fine. I'll tell my story. So, sure. But I'm not out here to like prove things to people or make them believe me. But this is what I experienced. And this is my real life. Yep. So, in the remote viewing, I really took off with that. Like I have a show every Friday night actually that I do where I remote view paranormal stuff to see if it was real, and to try to figure out what some of these stories are. Like,
sure.
Yeah, tonight I'm doing organism 46B, if y'all have heard of that.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was until I looked into it, but it's like a sea cryptid out of Antarctica. And they say that it was like a big gigantic squid or an octopus that kind of took a human form, and it killed people, and it was like communicating telepathically with some researchers, and it's weird. Okay. So that's kind of what I like to do.
Well, before the show, I was talking to Jeremiah. I said, 2 of the things I wanted to bring out for our audience is 2 of the things that you have remote viewed in the past. Mm-hmm. I've researched both of them heavily. And when you and I spoke about it at another time, it coincided with everything I had researched, the people I spoke to and everything. And I just wanted to see if you wouldn't mind touching on these 2 places in particular, the LBL, Land Between the Lakes incident.
Totally. Yeah.
The Port Chatham incident, but the Lakes incident, if we could start with that one, because everything you told me was spot on from everything I researched and people that I spoke to. in Tennessee at the time and everything. So
Interesting. Yeah.
hit us up with a couple of things that you saw on that one.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the more difficult remote viewing targets that I did. And I did that for one of my shows. It's on my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress. If anybody wants to check that show out.
Okay.
But Tex from Texas Front Porch, who I do those shows with, he asked, I believe it was his idea, because I had never heard of the LBL. Okay. I'm just a Bigfoot field researcher from Georgia. I didn't know anything about it. And I didn't even know a whole lot about Dogman. That was kind of new to me, because I never seen a Dogman or encountered one, but I'd heard about him. And so I remote viewed that, and I immediately see what I do when I'm remote viewing. The first thing I do is try to determine whether it happened in real life or not. Okay. And right off the bat, I got, yes, it absolutely happened. There was a family of 4 that had gone to a campsite, and I actually even drew a diagram of the vehicle and like a trailer behind it of some sort. And I got like the location of the way there were 2, I guess you can call them dogmen, ran up from one direction and attacked a family, a mom, a dad, and 2 kids. And it was super disturbing. I was really disturbed at what I was seeing and what I was sensing there. It was really bad. And it was, I pretty much, I mean, I don't know how much detail you wanted me to give, Nick.
Well, I was going to throw a few questions your way.
Okay.
Have to drag it out too long. The father, were you able to remote view the father and the damage done to him?
Yeah, well, I did see that he and his son, I believe, were the first ones attacked.
Right.
And he was kind of like sitting down or like bent over or something. I'm not sure. He was working on something, I think. And I can say in my data, okay, there was a gunshot. Now, I don't know if it came from the dad or the mom.
Right.
A lot of the stuff I'm seeing, it's not like I'm seeing I'm not like seeing the entire event as a whole when I'm remote viewing. I'm seeing tidbits of it and kind of an overall general picture of it. And I'm honing in on certain things. And so I can only tell you there was a gunshot. Okay. I did pick up on that. He was ripped apart.
Right.
Yeah. He was ripped apart. Definitely like limbs, I believe, were ripped off. So I don't know. I don't want to get, it's kind of disturbing. I didn't get into detail on my show. So
yeah, so we're not comfortable.
Yeah, but he was well, see, there's the thing. This is not in any kind of it's not in the records. Like there's nowhere to find this. It wasn't in the newspaper. It was scrubbed or like it never happened.
Right.
So there's only hearsay and first or second hand accounts of this. Okay. When you go back and like Nick will tell us, I'm sure, there's a whole lot of questions about it. Okay. And so when I looked into it, like I said, I didn't know a whole lot about it. I did see that the son was ripped apart as well. He was attacked. Yeah. And then I believe he tried to run to his mom or there was 2 people inside the trailer. And I don't think he made it there. Okay. But before he was attacked, and then the mom was attacked and the other child. And so it was really bad. Okay. And it was so bad that when I got done viewing this, I didn't know what to do. I was kind of flabbergasted. And here's another thing. I didn't just see that attack. I saw multiple attacks. So it was like multiple attacks with single people getting attacked, couples and families, kind of. Okay. So like multiple people were getting attacked. And so it was overwhelming for me to see things like that. I pretty much immediately contacted Jody Cook with it. And I didn't even know Jody. I didn't know him, but I knew he was the head of the North American Dogman Project. And so I sent him a message, and we messaged back and forth, and I just told him what I had done. And, I believe we were friends on Facebook or something. And, he kind of sent me after that. I mean, I sent him my data actually, and he sent me a video to watch. It completely coincided with a lot of what I had seen there. So with
Wow.
eyewitness accounts and stuff. Yeah.
Just to specify now, it was 4 people.
Yes. 4.
4. That's one. It was a tow behind trailer. It was not a trailer home.
I believe so. There was, there was a vehicle with something behind it. Okay. They were pulling something.
Trailer, right?
Yeah. It was a trailer. At the time, I couldn't tell if it was like a boat trailer or the camper. Okay.
Right.
So but it was a vehicle with a trailer behind it, most definitely. And I have it written on my data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lastly,
I drew it.
anything about the little girl that was there, the daughter, where she was found?
Well, I can tell you there was, knowing what I know now, there was a body taken off and it was eaten upon. Okay. And it was elevated in something that could have been a tree, but I couldn't tell. But it was something that there was a small body that was elevated, and that's all in my data. And
Wow.
it was pretty graphic. So I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Right now,
But
yeah.
we do know the story on that.
Yes.
All right. Well, we can move on from that one. It's something I wasn't going to originally ask about. I was wondering if you ever remote viewed the Patterson Gimlin film where they
there we go.
fought Patty.
I have not, and I'll tell you why I haven't. That's very controversial, and I have heard from multiple sources, a couple of very credible sources, that a lot more went on there than what they talk about, and people get very angry about it. And so I try to, I try to put things out there that are not so controversial so much. I know the LBL is pretty controversial, but that's something where I've actually seen a lot of fighting online about. And so I'm not comfortable doing that, not publicly at least, but I have been, that has been requested many times to do. I have heard some stories about it, but I'm not sure what the truth is yet because I haven't looked into it.
You think you or your group or anybody in there might do it in the future?
I'll do it, but I just don't know if I'd make it public.
Well, you could
depending upon what it is.
We could be the insider group at least.
I can put it on my page. I have a Patreon. All of my remote viewing data actually is on my Patreon, the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon. And so I have a wonderful Patreon family who's very supportive of my work. And so I scan all my data and I put it on there every week with a whole bunch of extra stuff about all of my targets. Yeah. So I might do that and just leave it up to my Patreon family.
Yeah. Like a disinterested party, a couple of Russian scientists way back when, they checked that film out for years, and they said that it was a true film, that it wasn't doctored, and the way that Patty moved, you can see the front indicated she was a female. They even indicated that there was like a little pouch of some sort on the body. And that's something in the research that I've done on Sasquatch that has proven true, that they actually make little pouches to carry little things in. And I was very surprised at that when I found that little information. So I mean, all the stuff, it'll be interesting once you do remote view it to see what does come of it, because it's very controversial. But hey, that's what cryptozoology is all about. We have to.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, she also has a braid in her hair. So
yes.
I'm not sure if y'all have seen that yet, but she has a braid, and so that would, there's a whole lot more to that story than what we've been told. And I highly recommend everyone following MK Davis and his work on this. He's done extensive research on that. So I applaud MK. I think he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. What about the Hanobian? Have you ever looked into that?
That's one of them I have not looked into. The Siege of Hanobi. Honubi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have not looked into that siege yet. No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, I definitely haven't.
The one, Jeremiah, where they surrounded the log cabin and they were throwing bullets.
Yeah.
That was Ape Canyon.
Two brothers.
Ape Canyon? Or wait, or you're talking about Hanobi?
Hanobi, they had these Sasquatches that terrorized them. It was a rescue group, and they had terrorized them for months. And finally, they said that's enough. It was two brothers. one Sasquatch had chased the niece back in the house, said that it, and they waited on the front porch for them to come near. Remember, Nick, they shot it.
Right.
And it went down. They went through the body, but there were 6 of them in the wood line going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
one Sasquatch picked the dead one on his shoulder, and they walked away with it. And that's the last I've ever heard of that case.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's different than the one I was talking about, Jessica. I was talking about Ape Canyon.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I did remote view the Ape Canyon attack. I did. That was one of my first ones, actually. And
really?
that did,
Okay.
yeah, that totally happened as well, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I looked into that one and made it public. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I know I've done shows on that one. I have to look. I've done a lot of remote viewing, you guys. So on a lot of these cases.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine,
Sure.
Jeremiah, you're in a log cabin in the wilderness and the Sasquatches are so pissed at you.
Yeah.
They're whipping boulders the sizes,
Oh my God.
the size of 3 basketballs at you.
Well, I mean, I've had rocks thrown at me before when out in the field, but they were pretty good sized rocks, and they landed at my
Same
feet.
here.
Yeah.
Yep. You can put them right at your feet. Yep.
Yeah, right at I was sitting by the campfire in my camping chair, and
Yeah.
a rock came from over the creek, and it landed right by my feet. If they wanted to hit us, they'd hit us. Okay, I'm convinced of it.
Exactly. That's what I tell everyone. If they want to hit you, they're gonna hit you. If they want to do something, they're gonna do.
They're gonna hurt you. But hey, look, we're all still here. We're here right now.
Exactly.
I was with 2 of my guys up in upstate New York, investigating a possible dog man, and it turned out to be a Bigfoot, a 15-footer, and a large, I like to call it a log, but it was a large tree branch was thrown at us, and it landed a couple of feet in front of us. And one of my guys, it was night, it was pitch black, and one of my guys tripped over it and injured his knee. And we just took a knee, covered him, and got him out of there. And that was the end of that. And I gave it to Jeremiah, that case, because we don't handle 15-foot Bigfoots.
No.
We go for the smaller, nice size 7-foot, 8-foot
Right.
dog man. They're
Wait.
easier to handle.
Well, you did ask about the Portlock, Chatham, Alaska case, and those were huge Bigfoots. Okay, those were huge. You said 15 footers. These were at least 12 or higher or taller.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is big.
they're huge. Yes.
I mean, 9 feet is considered a big one, let alone 12, 13. That's massive.
I thought my data was wrong. I was like, there's no way this thing's 12 feet tall, but I think it was. I think a lot of things are bigger in Alaska.
When you removed that one,
Oh, absolutely.
what did you actually were able to see on that? It was attacks on the people?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The humans were being attacked and eaten, actually. Yeah. Yeah. It was not pretty.
Wow.
On that one, the Sasquatches that lived there had been there since the beginning of time. Okay, for a long time, and then a bunch of people came in and opened up a cannery, like a fishery there, a beautiful facility, but they were pretty much taking all the resources away from the Sasquatch, apparently. And they were mad. They were very mad. And here's a recurring theme in a lot of my remote viewing targets is when people are being attacked. And that's what I look into the most, are attacks by Bigfoot and Dogman and things like any kind of cryptid or inhumanoid, I guess we could call them. Right. But they were, a recurring theme is territory. Okay. They do not like anyone stepping into their territory. They have a line. Okay. They draw a line, and if you cross that line, you're fair game. And so that's what it was in Chatham or Portlock back then. There was a line, and I very clearly heard kill zone. Okay, so kill zone. So when they crossed that line, going into the woods, a lot of the guys would go in there. They had to get the logs for their houses. Okay, they had to build houses. Had to go hunt. They didn't want to eat fish all the time. I guess they had to go eat something else. Right. The humans needed to go hunt, and so, but they were encroaching on that territory, and so they got mad. And they were just picking these people off one by one, basically. And they were actually eating them. But they were tearing their bodies apart and throwing them in the river and the ocean, and the bodies were washing up on shore. And it was kind of like to send a message, I guess.
Well, when they were in the forest area, or did they ever go? Did you see anything if they went into the town?
They didn't go in the town, but they came out to the wood line. They did come out to the wood line and poke their head out and stuff, but they didn't make their presence known in town.
I see.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like a town. Well, it was just like a little village, I guess.
Right, yeah, a group of homes.
Yeah.
And then you had the cannery next to it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, but that whole town packed up, and I mean, the head of the elders or whoever was there, they were like, "Yeah, we have to evacuate," because I think 30 plus people went missing over a year or so, or something like that, and their bodies were washing up on shore. So,
you go after their livelihood. They're they have to live.
Yeah. Territorial. Yeah.
And when they went past that line of demarcation, they picked them off. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Ron Moorhead about that. He actually went up there. He was filming with that Killer Bigfoot show or Killer Alaska or something. I don't know the name of the show.
Missing in Alaska?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was about Portlock, Alaska, whatever show that was.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I should know the name of that, but I don't watch television.
Yeah.
Very often. I love Ron though. Yeah, I love Ron. Sorry, Ron.
Yes. Awesome.
But
and I had Ron Moorhead on DA's show, and he's the one that mentioned the 15-foot Bigfoot that they had in Alaska over there. And I'm like, wow, you had one there. We had one in upstate New York. And Jeremiah, you remember when we were discussing that? I mean,
yes.
15-footer, the bones must be 4 or 5 inches around, the muscle mass, the body weight, 3,000 pounds, something.
I would say 3 grand, yeah. Absolutely.
Extreme. Anything you have on you is not going to even protect you from it.
No.
Wow.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's absolutely
huge.
Yeah, like I said, I thought my data was wrong. When it said 12 feet tall, I was like, there's no way. But if you're saying 15,
yeah. Well, Ron had mentioned they found tracks of one that was indicative of one being 15 feet tall and weighing, almost a couple of tons.
Well, that would make sense. My data would make sense then, and what's interesting about remote viewing is a lot of times I'll remote view something and I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. I have no idea. Right. And so I just write all the information down. I do something called coordinate remote viewing, where I everything is charted out on paper. I have a bunch of paper and a pen. And every bit of sensory data, anything that comes to my mind that I smell, taste, touch, feel, whatever, I write it all down. And a lot of times I'm sitting there, and when I'm done with my session, I'm looking like, what in the world is this? So it takes, and sometimes I never even know what the outcome of my data is. I just have all this data sitting there. Now it takes experts, or I know none of us are experts, we say, but it takes someone like Ron Moorhead, for instance, or any other researcher to actually help me interpret my data. We can answer a lot of these questions, a lot of these mysteries. I've got the data. I just don't know what to do with it.
That's where, once you have your remote view and you wrote down all your data, now you have to do the research to see what you found out about it. This way you can make sense of it. And like I was saying on, one of the other shows that we've done, even the tiniest bit of evidence, once you correlate that with something else, now you have something solid. Now you can make something of it, and we can possibly solve a couple of mysteries, but I still think we're far behind on that.
Well, that's why I really do depend on other researchers to help me with this, because I can be the channel for the information. I can bring it out and put it down or write it down, but then I need people to help me interpret it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What about UFOs? Any remote viewing on them?
I have remote. I'm trying to think of what I've remote viewed. Now I've done some remote viewing of UFOs with my team and things that have happened with us, but I'm not really allowed to talk about a lot of that. So, but I can say I'm trying to think of some good UFOs that I've researched.
Area 51. Did you ever do that?
I have not. Well, here's a problem.
Uh-huh.
Some places are off limits when it comes to remote viewing, and it's not just off limits. I could possibly get in trouble for talking about things publicly,
Right.
and I'm not going to say, well, I say trouble, but I mean, I have actually joked around about getting that proverbial knock at my door. Okay, from I was remote viewing the Pyramid of Alaska, the Dark Pyramid. There's certain things that like I knew that it was kind of off limits, like the Apollo 11 moon landing, let's just say. I did get that proverbial knock at my door before that show. And I had to kind of backtrack. I do this for fun. And when it stops being fun, I'm not going to do it anymore. Okay. And so that was one of those days where I was like, man, this is not fun anymore. So, so I have to be careful about what I remote view. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of this stuff could be kind of dangerous. I know it's like fun and everything, but I have to be careful.
Sure.
I got other stuff going on in my life. I don't need an extra stress. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
What's that, Nick?
Skinwalker Ranch.
I have not remote viewed that, but my team, we research a place that we actually call the Skinwalker Ranch of the South. Oh. That is what the head of my team, Trey, he wrote a book called The Meadow Project. And he's been on the circuit. He does interviews all the time. And that's where we research is we call it the Meadow, and it is like it's like Skinwalker Ranch. We have the same kind of phenomenon there. And from everything from portals opening up to Sasquatch to ETs, UFOs, orbs, possible MIBs, things like that. We have pretty much everything going on there. So I have not looked into the original Skinwalker Ranch.
I don't think they'll let you on without an invite or something.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Well, we have our own Skinwalker Ranch down here in the South. So I think just about everywhere that we research is kind of like Skinwalker Ranch here, actually. I mean, it's not like anyone's home. We're out in the woods, but it's everywhere we go. And I feel like it's not just the property or the land that has all this activity. I believe it's the people who go there. I believe that a lot of people will bring the high strangeness with them when they're out doing research, if that makes sense. It's not just that land.
Does. I think a lot of it has to do with the person in particular, the people in particular. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree on that.
Did you guys hear, some of the research I've done, and I spoke to one of the helicopter pilots. He no longer works for them since the one owner sold it. He was the pilot for the owner. He said that a lot of the people that work there and that were on that show, they actually brought, since you said high strangeness home, homes, and funny things were in their homes, like things moving about, shadows in their homes and whatnot like that. And not just one or two people.
That happens to us too.
Walk there in Skinwalker Ranch. I mean, they brought some so-called evil spirits home. So have you heard about that? That
happened to me.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know about anybody else's from the actual Skinwalker Ranch, but our Skinwalker Ranch, myself and Kristen, actually one of my teammates, she had an incident where something very dark followed her home, and she was actually kind of attacked. But that's I won't get into details of her story. I'm not sure if she's gone public with all of that yet, but I did have I came home for being out in the field. I had a small child at the time. My son is 8 now, but back then he was around 3, I guess. And so I could only stay out there one night, and they were out there for like 4 nights. So, but I was out there that one night and a couple of days, and I came home, and my team was still out there. One more night they were out there, and I came home to take care of my son, and he was just playing on the elliptical machine. I had it in my front living room at the time. I know that sounds fancy, but I had the elliptical machine in my living room, and he was in there playing around on it, and his dad was actually videoing him through his phone, because he was super cute. And I was in the kitchen making dinner, and I got called into the living room to look at something, and I was like, well, what is it? And there were orbs. There was something flying around my son, and I thought it was a bug at first because I was so confused. I thought it was just like a bug that was kind of a white moth or something. But it was flying around, and I realized there were two of them, and they were actually balls of light. And they were going all around my son, and my son was like, "Mom, look, it's a ball, Mom." And I saw it with my own eyes. My son saw it with his own eyes. His dad could not see them at all with his own eyes. He could only see it through the phone. Okay, straight up. Yeah. So and then the balls, they danced around my son for a little bit, and then they shot towards the phone, and it cut the phone off. Okay. So I have that. I actually had the video. We have the video of that. And it actually kind of proved to me that not everybody can see what I see. Okay. Not everybody can see what my son sees. Not everybody is tuned into that frequency. Okay. Because his dad did not see that at all. Yeah. But
that does prove something that I've been espousing, that with your own eyes, you can't see it sometimes, but using a machine, a la the phone now is sensitive to it, and it's picking it up. Just like when people are in the forest, they can't always hear a Sasquatch call or a dog man, but they're recording it. And when they go back home and they're like, wait a minute, I didn't hear that when I was out there. Boy, that thing was really close to me and I didn't know it, So that cell phone camera must have picked it up. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there was a time when I was out in the field, and we had an encounter with a UFO. One of my teammates and I were doing a scouting mission, and we were sitting out in what we called the UFO field. Okay. And we were out there, and we started seeing UFOs, multiple UFOs. And there was one dominant UFO that kind of was a low flying one that was right in our vicinity. And I had my recording device on, okay, just like we use it in ghost hunting, okay, just like a little handheld recorder at the time. And this was, I want to say it was about 11 years ago, or 12 years ago. It's been a while. But I had that recorder, and I had it sitting on my knee, I think. And I was sitting down, we were camouflaged and, sitting, we had blended into our environment. All right. We were trying to get a Bigfoot to come out and step on us. But instead we got UFOs. And so, but I got home, and we had a whole bunch of activity that night and that whole weekend. I got home, and I was actually kind of scared to listen to that because I knew something had happened to us while we were out there, but I didn't know what. The head of my team came over to my apartment to listen to that with me because he knew that I was a little traumatized because something had happened. I didn't know what. And so he and I listened to that entire recording together. And there was a certain point in that night that it sounded like bottle rockets were shooting off all around me. It sounded like loud, like pew, 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 all around me, like serious bottle rockets being shot.
And you didn't hear it at the
Wow.
No. Nope, not at all. We didn't hear a single thing. But we were extremely quiet at the time. There was no talking. I do remember getting really tired for no reason. And I believe I fell asleep. Okay. And we have remote viewed that. And there's a story, there's a whole lot that happened after that. That's actually why my entire team got trained in remote viewing, was because of that incident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's one of the reasons.
So you would say that there was a loss of time there that you guys
Yes. Yeah. Well, when we got back to base camp that night, my equipment had, it was either mine or his, like one of us, our equipment, the clock, the time on them had gone forward an hour, and the other one of us, ours had gone backwards an hour. Yeah, it was, we checked everything before we went out. I mean, we were out there for hours. I think we went out there around 3:00 in the afternoon, and we got back to base camp at 1 a.m. Or it was around 1 or 12 at night. So yeah, we were out there for quite a while, but no, we never heard any of that. And, but yeah, something pretty profound did happen to us out there. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yes, the whole thing. Do you have time to talk about that? What happened out there?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
I know you gotta get out soon, but
yeah, no, I've got some time. I do have a show tonight, but we're good.
Okay.
And so, yeah, well, I had been out in the field the night before. I was bait. Okay. So if you're a Bigfoot field researcher, you probably know what being bait means. That means you go out there by yourself and try to call in a Bigfoot or have something come out because you're by yourself and you're scared and you're alone. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I had this was my first trip out in the field ever with the team, and it was me and a bunch of guys. And some of the guys were like, okay, why don't you walk up this field? It was an open field, and there was a tree line about a football field, like 100 yards up a hill. And they said, why don't you walk up there? We'll watch you with our FLIRs and our thermals and everything, and make sure you're safe. And if anything happens, you get scared, you just throw your arms up in the air and we'll come get you. And so I was like, well, heck yeah, I'll totally do that. And so I did. And I got halfway up that field by myself, and something, I thought it was a person. I thought it was one of the guys trying to trick me, came running up behind me and smacked my legs out from underneath me.
Oh,
Yeah. But there was nothing there. So I stopped. Of course, like, it knocked me off balance and my arms went up in the air, kind of accident because I was trying not to fall. So they thought I was in distress, but really I had just been, something just brushed the back of my legs pretty good.
right.
And, I looked around, there was nothing there. There were no logs. There was no brush. There was nothing. So, and I felt the energy of it come up behind me and then go past me, actually. So I just kept walking. I was like, well, that was weird. Okay. And I just kept walking. And then eventually one of the guys came up to check on me to make sure I was okay. And I was standing there. One of the guys that was watching us with his FLIR said that right in front of me, I had walked right up to the tree line, and right directly in front of me, a Bigfoot peeked his head out from behind a tree and was staring at me. Huh. And I was sitting there staring at it, but I couldn't see it because I didn't have a FLIR. I had nothing. It was just me and my naked eyes. Okay. So, so we knew there was something up there. We knew there was activity there. And so the next day, two of us planned a little trip where we were going to go up. We had a huge team out there that weekend, and he and I were going to go up there and sit, and we were going to blend into and get it like what do you call it, a spidey hole or something. We were going to go hide, and I think he had on a ghillie suit. I'm just going to say we were decked out. And so we got up there around 3 p.m. and sat, pretty close to each other just for safety purposes. And we had our backs to each other, I think. And what we were going to do was we were going to sit there all night. The team was actually going to come up at around 9:00 that night and act like normal humans. Okay. Like bring their camping chairs out to that field and make noise and play a didgeridoo and drums and whatever, just make a bunch of racket. And we were hoping that a Bigfoot would walk up on us and he and I would get to see it and observe a Bigfoot and probably get zapped and all that stuff. But so that's kind of what the plan was. And so it all went down. And before the group got out there, he and I had been sitting out there for a long time. And we started seeing lights in the sky. We were watching what looked like airplanes, but they were moving in like triangular patterns and stuff. It wasn't an airplane. And we were sitting there. I was thinking, like, are my eyes playing tricks on me? But we were both seeing the same stuff. And then a light showed up, a very bright light showed up on a mountainside right beside us, across the field from us. And it was really bright. And we both kind of assumed that it might be a car light, like maybe there's a car on the side driving over the mountain. Right. But then we realized, well, it was like kind of on top of the trees, not in the trees. Okay. And also there's no straight line. And the light was going straight across the mountain. Now, if it was it would have been on a trail, it would have been winding. Okay. And making a bunch of curves and stuff. So we watched that for a little while. And I think that's when everything kind of happened. We had an experience with a UFO out there. Cool. Yeah.
So you guys were actually using the other people who were with their camping chairs and making noise as a diversion.
Yes.
So that Bigfoot would think, oh, they're over there and there's nobody over here. But
yeah,
what I understand, their senses are heightened, so they
know better. They knew we were there. I mean, honestly, you could wear reflective clothing, and they know you're there.
That's it.
My opinion.
What's up with the camo?
You're gonna get in there.
They do.
Get to the spot, they know you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew we were there. It was the craft that was trying to find us. They knew we were out there too. I think that, we have remote viewed all that, and there's a story behind it that I won't get into, but they did detect our presence there. That craft did detect us. And one thing led to another. I do not believe we were abducted, but we did have an experience with the craft. Yeah. So that was interesting.
Wow.
But that's one of the dangers of being out there in the field. We just don't know what we're dealing with.
Yeah. In all reality, we really don't. We don't. Not yet, anyway. And I don't know if we ever will.
Well, here's the thing. We experience all this stuff, and some of us are out here talking about it a little bit. And so, I'm meeting other people that have had similar experiences now. So
yeah.
Maybe we can put our stories together and start figuring it out,
That's the way it should be, instead of all the bickering and all that, everyone needs to work together.
We're out there trying to make money off of everybody else's story instead of trying to solve the puzzle, solve, the question that we all have. If everybody would come together and, donate their knowledge, maybe we can find out something.
Mm-hmm.
But I've met too many people, and I don't associate with them anymore because they're like that. They don't care to share. What can I say?
Yeah.
Well, I might have said earlier, I am a member of 3 different teams, and there is one team that we really don't talk a whole lot about our research. And that's my remote viewing team. And so we do look into a lot of interesting things that, it's a lot of stuff sensitive, and it's just because it's our stuff that our team has experienced. And, and that's why we don't talk about that kind of stuff. But, like I said, we have that research area that is equivalent of Skinwalker Ranch. And we talk about all that stuff. Well, we actually take people out there with us that aren't even on our team. They have to sign NDAs. But we take people out. We're going to be there soon. Again, we do research here quite often. Still do it. Yeah.
So it's basically just research just for the group, then they're not going to put anything out publicly.
Well, there's a thing. I believe Trey put a book out. All of our research is in his book.
Oh, okay.
He took it's his story, but it's also a bunch of our field notes and stuff that he made into a book. And he is in talks with people that are maybe making a documentary about it. I'm not sure. I don't know what the deal is yet, but it will be made public, I'm pretty sure, at some point. And we actually have video footage of a portal showing up in the middle of the field, and 2 of our teammates being sent over to check it out, and their heat signatures disappeared.
Wow.
Into the portal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Beg your pardon?
The name of Trey's book?
It's the Meadow Project, Explorations into the South Skinwalker Ranch. Trey Hudson. You can get it on Amazon.
Of course.
Of course.
Cool.
Yeah, y'all check it out. Type in, go to YouTube and look up Trey Hudson, the Meadow Project. He's been on my show at Spaced Out Radio and whatever other shows I've had. So I can't keep up with all my stuff right now, but yeah, he's all over the place.
Jessica, you just added another book to my enormous amount of reading.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's a good one. Hey, you'll recognize at least one of those characters. Her name's Jessica J. So
Exactly.
that might be somebody you know.
It's a Marvel hero.
Yeah. I'm so honored they named a superhero after me. That was so sweet.
I was thrilled that D.A. Roberts put me in one of his books. It was like, wow, look at that. But you've got a superhero named after you.
Nice. Yeah. Yes. I guess they named her after me. I'm probably a lot older than she is.
Yeah, they canceled their show, but your show still.
Oh, well, I took over. This is now I got the reins.
There you go. There you go.
I guess we're towards the end of our time with Jessica here.
Unfortunately, we'll have to have her on. That's cool with
Yeah.
her.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I can't stay for longer, but
No,
I have a live show tonight.
We're glad
And
you were able to make it, though. That was fantastic.
thank you. Yeah,
That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love talking about all the research and anything that I've remote viewed. I was thinking I did a show on Ape Canyon. I don't think I actually remote viewed Ape Canyon. I can't remember. I think I got a little confused there because I've done so many shows. But we were talking about that's something that I could look into. But that's an interesting story. So
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, and if you guys know Fred in Alaska, it's he's got his own YouTube channel. I think it's Subarctic Alaska Sasquatch. He has a personal story that is very similar to what happened at Ape Canyon. Him and his cousin, his uncle. Yeah, so y'all look into that.
Wow, will do. Well, thanks for coming on, Jessica. We really appreciate it.
Really do appreciate it.
Well, thank y'all for having me. It's a blast. I will come on anytime. And y'all come on my shows, please. Okay.
Absolutely. Anytime. There should be a button for you to leave the show, Jessica, on your side. I don't know if there is.
All right. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm sorry, y'all. My dog just barked. So hope it didn't ruin everything. All right, y'all have a good night. Thank y'all so much.
You too, Jessica.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, Jay.
He was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. She's amazing. Very tuned in.
Oops. I think you. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's moving.
Yeah.
It's not moving. There it goes. But she just added some more, I guess, fuel to the research pot. For me.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm gonna grab Hudson's book, go through that, see what he has to say. Probably grab some books on remote viewing, try to learn that because I'd like to read quite a few things, and I'm not afraid about having the knock at the door. So I'm probably
right.
I'm gonna go where those people are afraid to go. I'll tell you, I'm not calling them chicken, but I know they want to be careful. But I just want to find some answers, just like I know you do.
Same here, buddy. Same here.
I'll share what I got when what I find out about that. You and I will be talking, in the coming about it. Because
absolutely,
that is interesting. It's just another means of investigation and research.
Absolutely. I've already got down a list of questions I want to ask her for next time. Yeah, I mean, she opened it right up.
Opened the whole can of worms out there. Yeah.
Opened the whole can of worms. Just unbelievable.
But I'm happy I was able to verify, what happened in Portlock, because a lot of research I've done, and I've only spoken to 2 people that were firsthand knowledge about it, and she's spot on with that.
She's right on.
And the LBL incident, there's another one spot on.
Yep.
People out there claim that there were 5 people there, and everything I've ever researched and people I've spoken to have all said 4.
4.
There are people out there that want to say, "Oh, it was a trailer home." No, it was a behind trailer, which she certified, and that the little girl was found out, in a tree, and so there's a lot of stuff that she's verifying for me, at least, that
me here.
Tons of research.
And there was that. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Did you hear that rumor that the little boy, and it was a rumor because she would have said something about it, that the little boy shot one of the same 410 shotgun, knocked it down to the ground. Now, personally, that causes a lot of problems for me. Yeah. If he had shot him with a 410 shotgun, it probably would have just pissed the thing off.
That's all. That's all. I mean, we're talking birdshot, even smaller. And we're talking a dog man of any size. 6 foot to 7 foot in between that range.
Yeah.
It's gonna pee him off. Yeah, really.
Yeah, big time.
So I really have to disagree with that. Maybe they did shoot, but I don't think it knocked it down. No. Some people are claiming out there, and I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree with it as well. Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to talk to Jessica off the air someday soon, and see if she had delved into it even deeper, up to the point where the authorities showed up. Because I'd like if she got into that part. If not, well, okay. But if she did, I'd like the information to, just
Yeah.
correlate it with what I have.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe we can have her after our next guest next week. Maybe we can have her on after that
Yeah.
again. If she's willing. That'd be great.
Yeah.
She was fantastic.
She does a lot of shows, so we're going to have to probably try to get her, to commit to a show.
Yeah.
For a
Work around her schedule.
when she's not busy. Yeah.
When she's not busy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Nick, the wife's calling. So
Okay.
that was an awesome show, man.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome choice, guys. I got to keep telling you that. It was an awesome choice. You made
Short and sweet. That was good.
it. It was great. It was great.
So when you do the final editing on this, just send it to me. I'll post it all over the place. You post it all over too.
Will do, brother.
Welcome to post it on all the sites I have, and so.
Okay, bud.
All right.
Will do. Will do. And again, everybody, this has been On the Trail in Search of Living Legends with Nick Valente and Jeremiah. Everyone have a good evening. Have a good night, buddy, Nick.
Good night now.
All right, bud. Good night.